that district need to be an overlay?
The PD district would be different than necessarily an open space focused district. There could be an open space PD, but there also could be, at I-73 and 220, for instance, that would be an opportunity to zone an area with a detailed regulating plan.
Which would not be OSRD.
Yeah, and we've already said that's an appropriate place for major traffic generators, so it's not really a focus on open space. There would still be some green space, because there's a ton of policies about that, even with commercial areas. But, yeah, that's one, that's one, just an example of where you still need a PD type district over, as well as an open space.
So we do
district.
still need a
Further
PD
discussion
district.
about this theme or the
That's-
text that you see in this quote, Bob?
And
Yeah,
it's location.
I just want to make sure that we've done a lot of work, we've talked about this a lot. I just want to make sure that this committee is clear in its recommendations, and to some degree, I think there could be either another summary sentence or paragraph that, because there is no OSRD zoning district in the current UDO draft, and we bring it up here. And it just seems to me like we're not saying, we could be more effective by saying, we think this should be the primary, OSRD should be the primary go-to district. If it's, I call it OSRD X or Y, some call it OSRD type, but I just think that needs to be driven home, that that's the one that satisfies most of the concerns that we have in the or most of the policies that are written in the comprehensive plan. We're okay with the PD as long as it has these regulations to it, and its use is limited because we think the OSRD offers the best hope of, you see what I'm saying? I just think we're missing something. It's kind of confusing that
We included it in the plan development discussion, other than,
yeah, but up here, this is the summary one.
We need an OSRD that has more upfront planning based on the
Well, we
discussions
say
that
that
we've
with
all had.
regulating documents, but I'm just trying to put this in a broader context, because somebody's gonna have to add wording in here that's, I mean, we didn't review the OSRD wording in the UDO because it's not there, and we didn't review the current OSRD.
But isn't
district
that
zone.
in our spreadsheet of recommendations?
Well, then it should be in the
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, as we,
Creating an
the
OSRD type.
PD's obviously is a hot topic in town.
But this
People are
is,
gonna read this, and they're gonna be confused about what we're recommending. I just think it's,
you're right, because OSRD is listed as part of PD section.
right, right.
It's almost like we should make that headline for number 4, zoning districts, and under that, OSRD and PD.
I think that's a good point, yeah. So we should change the heading.
Right.
Is there, does,
Right.
would
So
a,
we're recommending words right now.
What heading?
Should be 73 and 220.
Right.
zoning district recommendations?
Yeah,
I just think it'd be
No,
some,
because there just may be other places that, I mean, that was the one that came so quickly to mind, but the
Yeah.
idea of that is that,
Major traffic.
Does,
It's
if,
no, the idea of PD isn't major traffic
I don't
generators.
wanna
It's
wordsmith
having
it,
flexibility
zoning
for
district
a site that doesn't, that some other zoning
recommendations
doesn't meet.
seems like there's gonna be a whole lot, but this is a theme that you're pointing out as a major theme. I wonder, and I'll put this one out, plan-based, I know you particularly like science-based, but the OSRD and the PD are all driven by a plan, a regulating plan. So this is just the heading, but plan-based zoning district,
But you were saying they could use PD if it doesn't
everything's regulated.
fit for the OSRD. Well,
I mean, I don't wanna, I'm speaking for myself, so I appreciate what everybody else thinks, but I think, you know, during the course of those several meetings
Well,
that we had,
if I,
can we just,
Could we?
we had a
one
consultant
person
here, we
talk?
all seem to kind of think that the OSRD type might be a nice solution for us. No one said really here yet out loud that they want to strike the PD language from the document,
Kind of did.
but Well, I guess,
Wish you would.
but I mean, I think,
My notes
I think
too.
if you want to try to develop a consensus from the committee, it would be something like the committee prefers the OSRD type zoning as the broader zoning district, and PD would be used with these restrictions in certain locations, but I don't know, does that,
I don't know if I see
I don't-
prefers.
I don't like that word prefer.
Prefers, but I do think the OSRD needs to be back in there, and I do
Right.
agree that the PD is gonna be used in a limited
Right,
fashion,
yeah.
but I don't like prefers.
I don't
like
either.
the word
well,
what
maybe
about-
prefer, I mean, something like solves or addresses the concern, addresses the policies in the comprehensive plan better.
Oh, I don't know, I like that
Oh,
idea.
really?
That
No, really, because the
It
current
doesn't
wording,
do that either.
because the current PD wording has none of that in there. It has no limits to it.
Well, that's what.
That's what
we're
I'm
saying. That's what we're saying
saying.
to the zoning board.
But if it's on a limited basis, I think we do need to say preferred.
No.
No,
I think,
I don't like that word
I would say
prefer.
too, what about if we use a more generic title at the top that kind of describes the contents, but we take the last sentence from section 4 and pull it to the top to really highlight the fact that the committee, after it's all its reviewed, to highlight the fact that conventional-based zoning is probably not going to support the comprehensive plan vision, and there's a need for innovative zoning and planning strategies, so that that's up top in there.
As
So
opposed
it's
to the
clear
bottom.
that we're trying to ensure there are districts that make it into the UDO that can support the comp plan.
I mean, going back to our charge though, I mean, 6.4 says open space residential development, also known as green space development. It is in the comprehensive plan, but is not in the UDO.
Yes,
One
Jeff.
comment?
Jeff?
So I think what Jason said is really good if we pull that up. I also think at the bottom of the top paragraph that's there, we need to put something in that this group notes there was an omission in the current UDO draft for OSRD. And I think then it gets into what OSRD type things are and PD type things are, and that would probably solve it. We don't have to say it's preferred or not preferred, it's just, it is an omission
That's
in the
right.
current
Yeah.
And
UDO
should,
draft.
and should be included.
Which is a
But
factual
And then it goes
statement.
into all of the details below that.
Jeff, is that goes in bullet 2, you think?
I was saying at the very top.
Oh, it goes at the
I was at the very
beginning of point 4.
But
Oh.
Jerry mentioned that sometimes the reason why PD might be a benefit is because it doesn't require as much open space. So that's why I feel like an OSRD, we might want to say preferred, because are we not preferring open space in general? I feel like that's what the comp plan says, and that's why we should probably say that an OSRD is preferred over a PD.
But you could
I
require,
don't think-
That depends on the
Removing the
location.
sentence out.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
It
my,
really
it's
does.
very
Could we maybe take up one idea at a time and see if there is agreement?
not open
And
space, you
and
could require.
the first
for the
idea
type
that
of
I'll
district.
suggest
It's
we
your
take
choice.
up
Right, you gotta state the number.
Right.
is, and I don't want to lose the sense of what Bob is saying and maybe others, but that the last sentence be put at the beginning.
Okay, is it ready?
The Summerfield,
Why don't you start a new beginning paragraph, Jesse? That's already a long paragraph, start a new one,
yes,
and paste that there.
yes. The second idea that I was hearing,
well, let's make sure we have.
Let's make sure we have this first sentence right.
Because the beginning of it, there's important stuff in the original first paragraph.
Right.
Does it belong at the very top or somewhere in the?
Where?
No, it should be the very first sentence.
Yeah.
Very first sentence.
Yeah, leave it the way you just had it. And then if we wanted to add from there,
can you strike eventually since,
actually, I think it'd be in the
Yeah,
second.
just take that out.
and then we'll
Yeah.
just the paragraph that was there still reads that, I was hearing a sense that you wanted to point out clearly that a OSRD district was not in this draft UDO.
Right.
That should be there,
That should be there. That should be there somewhere.
Right.
and it should, yeah.
And then
Probably right
that's
before the
about
PD
OSRD.
part.
Right?
the mid-paragraph there, while the draft UDO did include a planned district, the committee found this very mistake. Maybe as a, either before or after that sentence, the committee noted that the draft UDO did not have a OSRD district.
Or that it was removed, because we originally have one in our current.
Well,
Just-
the draft UDO doesn't have it in.
And that's all we were looking at.
Yeah.
Just does not have, kind of leaves any kind of judgment.
As the comp plan. This comp plan actually is the comp-
As recommended.
as recommended by the comp plan.
Okay.
As,
And we'll fill out the comprehensive.
yeah.
This omission and lack of definition,
Okay.
because then you include both of those.
Right, that sounds.
This omission and lack of definition contributes to the already high level of anxiety and distress. I don't know that the lack of the OSRD contributes to
I
that.
don't think so, I think the,
Yeah, that sentence doesn't fit right there.
Okay, this omission contributes to the anxiety. There's something PD, any PD major overhaul. The UDO should also include an OSRD district. Then the bullet, the middle bullet goes into more detail about the OSRD.
It doesn't match. The OSRD omission has nothing to do with the anxiety and
it does.
distress.
I think ours do.
You read it?
Just because it's PD or RS40, that's
Because
really
we currently have it available, and it's,
so it wasn't the distrust outside this room.
Yeah, that's what
I
I'm
think he was
saying.
talking about.
I'm saying
So-
that the controversy last year, I don't think had anything to do, but you're saying, I don't think the public knew what OSRD type district was.
If there's
Maybe they did.
if there's OSRD and PD in there, then the comp plan at 6.4 is saying PD can only be used when OSRD is not feasible or appropriate. So,
that's why I
so as long as
said-
we go by that now, why don't you have your PD,
That
OSRD?
is
those-
going to
zoning
come
test,
into
right?
play when a zoning request is brought before the zoning board. They go straight to the comprehensive plan and deny or approve something based on that very thing.
Is there any further, look at this paragraph.
Yeah, I rewrote a few things while you're talking, so make sure it looks right. I'm trying to capture it.
You weren't so good at dictation when you were in school, huh?
I think
Probably
that's
too young to
fine.
know what dictation is.
I'm sure he was.
Okay, does that paragraph say what you want to say?
Yes.
I think it's redundant.
You're saying that the sentence, the lack of definition contributes to anxiety? When we say right above, the draft
Yeah.
has a planned area, the
You want to take that whole
extremely
sentence out?
vague, general, and ambiguous.
Just take this whole,
Well, but we were trying to fit some mention of the lack of the OSRD
Yeah,
type.
but that doesn't say that in that sentence.
well, we got the OSCG attention of the previous
Oh,
one.
it's
Right.
in the previous
So-
one.
But the first sentence of that paragraph was, we're acutely aware of the controversy
Yeah, I think
surrounding
it's
the
repetitive.
Okay,
Yeah,
one thing
take out the
being-
lack of PD type.
so you're sort of hammering it, or the text has there, sort of reinforces that comment, but it explains, okay. Is there agreement to drop the lack of PD contributes to the already high level of anxiety? Okay.
We're gonna have one more look at this, right?
No, this is it.
To finish this all.
This is it.
If you finish in 8 minutes.
Okay. Then, the bullets, are any changes to the bullets here?
My only thought was the first and last bullet are about PD, and the middle one is about OSRD, and it just kind of goes PD, OSRD, PD.
I was actually gonna I think that, if you could, I could quickly rearrange all of that, and you guys move on, and
I would move
I
that.
would kick Jesse out and go up there and do it, because I think,
You're
I
not
saw
supposed
that
to walk
too.
up
That's
I
fine.
can't,
But
with my
that
cane, you can see
suggestion
how
to
well
make
I'm
is that to make the second bullet the first bullet and then
Then the
the
next
first,
two are
the
about
second?
PDs, yes.
Okay?
And my only other comment on this section was, at the, below these bullet points, it says very limited areas. I don't know if it's very limited or just limited. Like, how do you define very limited?
It's sort of like taking out the much.
Yeah, I think it's just
Is there
limited.
agreement on dropping very?
Yes.
The-
Okay.
Hold on, hold on.
How do you define
Amber's on
very?
mission.
How do you define very?
It's in that comp plan.
Where?
I'm finding it.
Okay.
We talked about it tonight.
Yeah,
It
but
says
around the room, we've
appropriate.
said limited, we've not said
We
very
never said
limited.
very limited.
Or we've said appropriate.
Or
Appropriate, I think, is another.
Well, just in much the same way that we've been crossing out much more.
Is there,
I think
is there
appropriate.
agreement to striking very?
Yes.
Okay? The, Amber, I still sense a little,
That's fine. I like Andrew's suggestion of maybe appropriate.
Oh, right.
appropriate areas.
Yeah. Maybe just changing it to, instead of limited, maybe just do in appropriate areas.
Okay.
That works.
then the second part of that sentence further refines, well, what is appropriate predominantly or primarily along development corridors, where water recharge allows.
Okay,
Okay?
that works.
Are we ready to move on to plan for growth? And in this, we lost a little something. Oh, yeah, okay, we led over to the next page. A well-written UDO, I think this was Church's maybe, would be a valuable tool used to accomplish the goals. And then this was rephrasing, Summerfield leadership needs to address head-on how to manage its impending growth. So that's the, okay, is there agreement on number 5? Okay, this, Roman 3, recommendations by comprehensive plan policy area. At your last meeting, I think, there was some discussion afterward, well, is there is there something in between just saying, looking at all of these? Is there some way to give a little summary? And there were a couple of ideas that were presented. This is what we ended up with, which is pulling out the more significant recommendations for attention at this point in the document. If anybody who's really interested, they can look at the full collection and see everything else that you recommended. But this was our editing team's best effort to highlight for the reader the recommendations that were the most major. And you will see in policy area 1, it's probably a better phrase, and I think, Bob, you had this, to update the sign regulations according to current technology and law. Law might mean case law or court decisions in addition to statutory or other things.
I would like to take credit for that, but I can't take credit for it. Somebody else here at the table did that one.
Maybe it was Ryan.
On to nothing in policy area 2. Does anybody want? Okay, and then in policy area 3, the clarifying language, distinguish between open space and conservation. Just, this is syntax D, you don't need to distinguish between open space and conservation, not B.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? I would spell out A and D.
I was thinking the same thing. Yes, you gotta spell
Then
that.
it's like,
Okay,
the next
let's-
hand, the next hand
on to
should be
4.
also or something.
This is where there was a comment, and we absorbed it relatively late in this editing. The language should read, define major traffic generators to be consistent with the comprehensive plan. And the bold language that you see on your pages, I think, Carrie, that's verbatim from the
Yes.
comprehensive plan?
It's just there as a thought. It comes out, but I wanted it there so that you could directly apply the,
It is verbatim.
So but in the final printed report or published, however it's
we take it out.
disseminated, that bold would
Go
not
away.
show.
But the bullet would be finished with define major traffic generation to be consistent with the comprehensive plan.
Okay?
So Jesse, yeah, just after with, right, the comp plan,
Yeah.
and then get rid of the 2 bullets below.
Okay. Yes, correct. Policy area 5. Plant materials, making the first paragraph in new developments, so it doesn't have to apply to older existing residence properties. And then regional water study, if feasible, we can't prejudge what the water study is going to say.
I think that was.
Well, I mean, you should use native species in all, anytime, right? Not just new developments.
The concern was that, I'm trying to remember
One
when that
one of
was.
the comments was, are you going to apply this to all residents of Summerfield that they have to plant native plants and pull out their rhododendron? Or is that just because they're not native? And the answer is no.
Just new.
The UDO is going to regulate future new development.
But what if like they have like damage and they have to replant? That's not a new development.
Without getting into weeds,
They're required, we have it in there.
it may or may not need
Replant
permitting if
within
it's
like
just.
8 weeks or something like that.
That wouldn't require.
We could include it in the nonconformity section where when something is replaced by over 50% of its value and all that sort of thing. That it's, that the landscaping, we brought it this week.
That's kind of what I'm
That's only
thinking.
business, right?
Is
Yeah,
is there
Yeah.
any further
Yeah,
commentary
that's why I
on
wasn't talking about
Yeah.
number 5? I see, Bob, do you have a comment?
Yeah, no, just on the highlight that if feasible. But the point there, I just want to make sure that we all realize what if this water study says that we need larger lots?
Yeah.
What if the study says rainfall's been more variable, more sporadic, and therefore this calculation that we had changes? I don't know, I just think we were presuming that the results of the study, and if feasible, this still kind of says, well, if we want to or not, but I just want to make sure everybody knows that's the suggestion that I worded was to not prejudge the results of the water study.
You may want drought tolerable plants instead of native plants.
Well, it's actually one of your recommendations that you just approved with the spreadsheets. Work recommendation 5.3.3. So maybe you want to change that. On the spreadsheet.
Well, this
yeah.
says work within the regional water study recommendations to facilitate smaller lots in Summerfield. So, I mean, that still kind of allows, if it's feasible,
Well, the other
work
thing is-
within this the study. If the study comes back bigger,
Yeah, I just thought that this is
Can't
a
allow
summary of these
smaller
things,
lots.
we're going to present it to the zone without the knowledge of the water study. And it's like we have inside knowledge that this is going to happen. That's my only point.
Is there,
But are we handling that with what we just added with the most updated technology? Doesn't that kind of circle itself back around?
No, my point is we don't know the results of this
No, I know.
tabletop study.
No, I
and
know
It
what
could
you're
come
saying.
back and say that you've
But if
already.
you have that in the study, and no matter what, if you have that in here, and no matter what happens with the water plan, that no matter what decision is made, you're going to go with the most updated technology, doesn't that kind of cover it? Because if it comes back and it needs bigger lots, well, then the most updated technology kind of still applies. I would think.
I don't have any problem with it if feasible, and
agree.
then adding,
Okay,
and
but I
then
mean, that's-
changing the
that's to make sure we
recommendation
know.
itself too.
So make sure knows that's the reason for the
Sure.
feasible
No.
is in there. Not because we're.
page, at the bottom of page 9, there's a parenthetical phrase that probably doesn't belong there. Bracketing policy 5.7. Going on to the top of 10, going into policy area 6. And the third bullet, you'll see this is where where the summary picks up the live, work, residence above retail or office space.
Maybe not just be consistent if we're gonna do with height and
With height.
word,
Just think linear.
With
same thing where we're before it.
Yeah,
Just make
however
most
it is, however.
Okay. Okay, in number 7, there were no, I think that the highlighting is just the way Word is working. It is the town's
Town is
discretion.
highlighted.
Going to policy area 8, there was a suggestion, I think especially those provisions concerning lighting that are key recommendations to carry out the goals in policy area 8. I think that was a church comment. Okay. Going to.
Wait, real quick on 7.
Yep.
Real quick on 7. Jason, we were kind of talking about this, the part where it said provide language in the UDO to review development proposals for potential town acquisition of public park facilities. So you're reviewing development proposals to determine if the town can buy, I guess, I don't like the idea of anything where it's saying that the town is supposed to go in and pay somebody for something. If anything, they should dedicate it over, as opposed to the town having to do whatever, and we talked about.
It doesn't say buy, it says acquire.
Acquisition doesn't mean, hey, yeah, doesn't necessarily,
So just take out town.
No, the word, one of the
I'm thinking
comments said
acquisition means we're
include
paying
town.
for it, but if we're saying that's not the case, well then that's cool, we're just acquiring it by some other method. I just don't want something where town's gonna go in.
acquisition denotes dedication and acceptance or offer for sale and purchase.
Okey dokey, on we go.
okay, ready, on to number 8, and I don't think that there are any further changes to 8, on to 9, nothing in 9, 10. This is a wording change, I think, Bob, you said sounding out it's a little too fuzzy. So our suggestion is, it's picking up in your comment, don't start a big overlay process for the Summerfield Road without talking with the residents. So without, only after discussions with residents.
Good.
Okay, historic preservation, policy area 11, there's no changes there. Then in 12, it's binding would be good with regulating.
Yeah.
Okay. What's our timeline?
We're 3 minutes.
We got 7
Okay.
minutes.
This next section, 4, Roman 4, these are the additional recommendations that were more to the town council and less to the zoning board.
Thank you.
And so you'll see,
I think we should
page
change that.
13,
Reprieve, we're gonna adopt all yours.
there was one comment said, it's not just a, will you please consider, but the committee strongly suggests.
I like that.
Yeah.
Can we say requires?
See, beyond our pay grade. Okay.
Because we're,
going-
you know, we're
going
a
deep.
binding committee, right?
That's right.
Number 2, I don't think that there are any changes in 2, 3. There were no changes in 3.
3 did have one, citizen engaged.
Oh, yes, second line.
Yes, okay,
Yeah,
citizen
consistent with-
engaged, focus.
Yeah.
That's the
4, this came out of, I think, your last meeting, that somebody said, well, let's expand
Can
the.
I go back just a second to something? And this is maybe a chicken and an egg story, or question. Do we, so by creating this and asking for citizen engaged focus group, do we recommend that like some draft overlay wording in an ordinance be prepared first and then show it to the citizens group, or get the citizens group together first and say, do you want us to even start on this?
Bob, you're solving it.
Well, but I think that's part of the recommendation
The,
to us, to do one
I
first.
think you're saying,
you're making,
if we
you're
draft a
making, you're making this recommendation to council. There's any number of ways that the council, if it chooses to go forward with that, would say, well, let's start with A, B, and C.
But I think, so to me, it's a different thing, create an overlay for this overlay. Maybe that's not what we're trying to tell them to do, is say, figure out if you should even do this.
Well, I think we said only after, before, so maybe that's our answer right there.
I think you're saying that you need an overlay, but don't do it without citizen engagement.
You're wasting your time.
Well, it's kind of a chicken and egg
Well,
thing.
Uh-huh.
Involving
you
the
remember too, when we were
owners and
reviewing.
residents.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I was just saying that we just barely discussed that we do that only after engaging the owners and residents of that area. So I think that answers our question.
Well, it's only adopted after that. Up until then, it's a iterative process with the
Okay,
residents.
Jason, you had a comment?
You know, when we were going through UDO and the tables and everything, we discovered, correct me if I'm wrong, Carrie, that Summerfield area, because of very small lots in particular, doesn't have zoning to represent their needs for a variety of uses, residential included. And so they do need something. They have to get something moving forward. And so we're not going to tell them what it is.
Remember, the conversation started because this has been tried once before, and the town council did approve it.
The
So-
citizens said don't.
Are there any wording changes that anybody would suggest for number 3?
I think if you engage, I know Bob, you and I don't agree on this, and that's okay. I respect what you're saying. I do think, and I agree with what you said, everybody said, you can't just make the changes. I think Millie put it eloquently. I think there's opportunity when we come up with an overlay and then present it to them and get their input on what works for them. But I mean, I was just in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and they obviously did it along a road exactly the same way as, say, Summerfield Road, where over time, they were mixed